evening. The time is now 6:31, and we will now reconvene into open session. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will now entertain a motion for inter-district transfers 1 through 3.
I move to approve inter-district transfer of 1 through 3.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Just in case we didn't have your attention, Tony wanted to make sure we had everyone's attention. Okay, we will now go ahead and move on to our presentation from KCAM.
There we go. Good evening. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. We're excited to tell you all about how we're improving math instruction for our KCAM students. Over the last 3 years, we have worked with MCOE as part of the Personalized Learning Network, and we focused on improving math learning for all students, but especially for our English learner students and our students with disabilities. For the first year and a half, we were mainly focused on fact fluency, and we focused on that so that we could help students develop the automaticity with the fact fluency that then freed up the mental space to work on some of the harder math tasks, some of the more complicated tasks that they find in math. At the middle of last year, we added the 3 reads protocol as an expectation in all of our classrooms, kindergarten through 5th grade. Every single classroom at our school has this poster up, and I've seen it done in kindergarten, I've seen it done in 5th grade, all the grades in between. The 3 reads protocol is a step-by-step tool that students use when they encounter word problems or math tasks that help them understand what the question is asking them to solve. We are happy to announce that based on the new dashboard data released last week and their calculation of distance from standard, we saw significant student growth at KCAM in math last year. And distance from standard is a little bit different way of looking at results rather than just straight percentages of who met the standard or didn't meet the standard, who's a level 1, level 2. It's looking at how much closer our students are getting toward grade level standard. So for all students, we saw an increase of 5.1 points. For English learner students, we saw an increase of 10.3 points. And for our students with disabilities, we saw an increase of 14.4 points. So these numbers are especially exciting because that shows that we are closing the achievement gap at KCAM. So tonight we have students from Ms. Matadamas' 5th grade class here to tell you how they use the 3 reads protocol and their fun tool for practicing fact fluency.
Hi, good evening. Oh, it's loud. Okay. All right. So I have some of my students here. They're pretty excited to be here, but at the same time, they are super nervous. Okay. So they might be looking at their what they wrote down just because they're nervous. So I have here Yasaira, Esther, Josephine, Dylan, Sebastian, Uriel, Gerardo, and Jonathan. And they will be explaining how they use the 3 reads protocol in our 5th grade class. And then at the end, once they're done, you guys, if you want, we'll be playing Bucket, which is a math fluency game that we use frequently to better their math fluency. It could be multiplication and division, but we'll keep it easy. We'll do multiplication today. Okay. All right. So we will start. My student, Yasaira, will start off.
In our class, we use the 3 reads protocol to help us solve word problems and complex math tasks. When we encounter a complex math task, we read the problem 3 times, answering a specific question during each reading. Are you ready to read like a mathematician? Okay, mathematician. Let's look at a simple word problem. The problem says a paper company produces 504 sheets of paper each day. How many sheets are produced in 30 days? After the first video, answer the question. A paper company produces 504 sheets of paper each day. How many are produced in 30 days? What is the problem or story about? This problem is about a paper company that produces paper over a number of days. After we answer question 1, we read the question again and answer question 2. What are units and quantities? A paper company produces 504 sheets of paper each day. How many sheets of paper are produced in 30 days? After and answer the question 2, what are units and quantities? Are sheets and days. Quantities are 504 and 2. After figuring out the units and quantities, we read the question again. Ask question 3. What is the problem asking us to solve? The paper company produces 504 sheets of paper each day. How many sheets of papers are produced in 30 days? Problem is asking us for the total of numbers of sheets of the paper produced in 30 days. To solve this problem, we need to multiply the total number of sheets by the total number of days.
And our lovely Sebastian is going to solve our problem for us. So go ahead. Of course, he has mastered standard algorithm for multiplication. What's your
The paper company produces 15,120 sheets of paper in 30 days. So that is how we use the 3 reads protocol at KCUM to solve problems. Most of the problems we do in 5th grade are harder than this one, but we wanted to show you a quick example before we showed you the fun way that we practice fact fluency. One of the ways we practice our math facts is on Blooket. Do you want to play our favorite game with us?
Do you guys want to play Bucket? Yes?
What makes this game fun is you can't steal, you can't swap, and you can fish.
And at the end of the day, all students are winners. Go ahead.
First, enter the game ID. Second, enter your name. And third, choose a block. If any else would like to play, you have computers at the back.
Yeah, they're in the back. If you want to go get your computer, go get them at the back. Yeah. If you want to keep your name a secret, it's fine. But you can put your name like your real name.
Going to put it out there that this game gets really competitive and really noisy, and that's okay. So if you hear, even when I play this game, I yell out, "You stole my gold," or "You stole from me." So enjoy, have fun. Does anybody need help logging in? We have fifth graders who would be happy to help you. So we have 25 logged in. Anybody else need help? I know, they're good. Okay, we're at 25. Is there anybody else who still needs to log in? Are we ready to start? Okay, we have 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Okay, go ahead and press start. Here we go. Oh, it's gonna be good. This is more than just a really fun game. If you click on view report. So you can see here the percentage correct. You can see the total people who played. You can see how well each student did. Look at God, 100%. So good job. So what some teachers do is they tally this every time they play. And so they try to get greater percentages correct. They try to get total correct responses and total answers higher and higher and higher, which shows an increase in fluency. So it's fun, it's great fun, but it also has a lot of data points in it too. So this is Book It. This is one of the things we're doing at KCAM. We have a lot of teachers who are using it, and like you saw here, our students love it. So thank you very much for allowing us to present today.
Thank you guys for coming out and sharing with us what you guys are doing in your guys' classroom at your site. I also want to say thank you for being brave enough to stand up here in front of all these people and have to present to a bunch of strangers. So you know that takes a lot, and we really appreciate learning from you guys and for you guys to come and spend the evening with us. Para los papás que están aquí, deben de estar muy orgullosos para saber todo lo que están haciendo sus hijos en el salón y para saber que pudieron lograr todos las metas que lograron en estas, el último año. So, les estoy agradeciendo el tiempo que tomaron para venir a compartir sus trabajos con nosotros. So again, thank you guys for coming out here and spending the time with us. And also, it was super fun to watch you guys do what you guys do and how you guys are learning in the classroom. I know times have changed drastically from when I was a kid in the classroom. I wish that it was that fun to literally learn. But I'll go ahead and let other board members go ahead and address you guys. But thank you so much for coming out here.
No, thank you guys. And again, I'll echo what Vina was saying. But some of you guys are cheaters because you guys were stealing. But it was a really fun activity. So thank you guys. It's good to see all these different things that are being used in the classroom, making it more fun for them to learn. And I think with this, I mean, you engage them right away. So thank you guys. And thank you for all you guys are doing. And congratulations for speaking in front of everybody. So thank you guys.
I also want to say thank you for coming. Y a los papás también gracias por venir y apoyar a sus hijos y escuchar lo que están aprendiendo en la escuela.
You guys did a great job, by the way. Thank you. And some people are just sore losers. It's okay. You guys did amazing. Okay, we will now go on and move on to our student recognition. Go ahead and pass the mic over to.
So, good evening. I am not going to ask, we are going to recognize a special student tonight, but I'm not going to ask her to come up here with us up front. You'll see when I take her the certificate. But I want to tell you the story of why we're recognizing this special young lady this evening, and we certainly aren't here to make her feel uncomfortable. We're here to celebrate her. So I think it was about a week ago, I received an email from a teacher, and it was labeled inspiration. I thought, I wonder what this is. And so I opened up the email and started reading it. And that's a great description of what this young lady is, or for any of us when you hear her story. And so what this young lady did, her name is Michelle, and she's here with her mom, who we also want to know how proud we are and how proud her mom should be of her, is she had a student in her class that there was, as we know, things happen on a playground where sometimes things like a shoe go where they just shouldn't belong. And unfortunately, a shoe went over a fence. It happens. But this young lady, it was one of her peers in her class. And so this young lady took it upon herself, and she went and she purchased a new pair of shoes and brought those shoes to the student the next day, because she wanted the student to know how much the student was cared for, and that the people cared about him and wanted to be his friend. And so that was something so amazing. And then it was not only that act, but it trickled throughout the class, is what Miss McKee, her very proud teacher, shared, is that in her 17 years as an educator, it's the first time she's had something like this happen. And after that act of compassion and kindness, as Ms. McKee described, Michelle reminded Ms. McKee that we can all make a difference for each other by showing up and showing out for people. And her kindness rippled throughout the class, and all the students in the class even started making it a point to make sure that they were playing with the student and including the student in everything they did. They are a class. And so it was such an act of compassion and kindness that when I read this, I thought, Michelle and her family need to be recognized. Thank you so much for teaching this in your home. And Michelle, thank you so much for sharing this kindness with your class. Ms. McKee, is there anything I left out?
Michelle, I just want to say that it truly is an inspirational story. And I just want to point out just the impact that you have on people's lives. You're so young, yet you already understand that. And not just that, you're actually putting it to work. I can't imagine the bigger impact you're going to have on this world throughout your life. But people like you are, I'm not going to say rare, because I believe that good exists in all of us, but the way that it comes so natural to you, that itself is an inspiration that just pours out. And as your principal shared about your mom, it's something that has trickled down, and that is something that I'm sure she's very proud of. But you can also very much tell that your impact is felt. You might be shy, you might be quiet, but your impact is felt. So thank you for sharing your generosity, your love with not just that one particular classmate, but like they shared with us, it caused like a domino effect where everybody else started doing it. That right there, that's the kind of impact that is needed in this world. And the fact that you were able to just do it with one natural, kind gesture that came so, natural and truth, honestly, but from you. So I just want to say that I'm inspired by you, and I'm just motivated, and it's really heartfelt to know that our students are doing this in our classrooms, in our campuses. And so I just want to say thank you so much.
I'm gonna trickle a little bit, Michelle, on what Vina was saying. We're speechless. I mean, it's something that we didn't even know what happened until today, and when we hear it, it gets emotional. But you are an inspiration for your classmates and for your school site, and for everyone here present who heard your story. We don't know what your classmate was going through, and you took that upon yourself to go help them. So thank you for that, Mom. You're doing a great job. I mean, that's just the way you raised her, so you're doing a good job. So thank you both for taking that time and helping out. You guys are true inspiration and leaders in our community. Thank you.
I do want to say thank you for students, and I hope they actually try to do something very similar. So I will be sharing this story also to my students, what goes on in other communities, what they are capable of doing, even though they are still in, they're still young. They can still do a lot. And then thank you to also your mom, because we learned a lot from you. Doing a great job in raising.
Thank you again. We will now go ahead and move on to public comment. This is an opportunity for any member of the audience that is wanting to to speak on something that is not on tonight's agenda. Is there any members of the audience wishing to speak on something that is not on tonight's agenda? Having no public comment, we'll go ahead and close it and move on to the superintendent's report.
So, since we've seen each other last for our regular monthly meeting, we've had several different events that have occurred. We had our elementary fall conferences, our first Colt Pride Day for the year. Opening doors was, completed the entire first series of opening doors with about 25 parents. I think it was, may have been between 25 and 30 parents that completed that, including a newborn, which I didn't make it until the final night. And I said, wait a minute, there's a new baby that started this session. You need to call me next time because I can come hold the baby while the mom and dad, they were both in the class. So I put that in our liaisons and Ms. Alvarez's ear. Tap me on the shoulder next time I can be on baby duty. We had our fall concerts for 3rd through 5th grade for all of our 3 elementary schools, our Dia de los Muertos celebration with over 1,200 people in attendance, our Family Leadership Institute for 3 days right here in this room that we'll be bringing back and repeating in February. The annual distribution of the Rotary, the dictionaries from our local Rotary Club to all of our 3rd graders. We've done that as well in the last month. And then coming up, of course, we have our Las Posadas event as well as CSBA. So it's just a busy time, and that's not everything. You have your handout of the other events. This week, I also had we have 2 more meetings of the City Task Force to End Youth Violence that I've shared about. This is phase 2. So at our meeting this week, Supervisor Chris Lopez attended so that he could hear about what we're doing and the things that we've looked at, because the report will come out in December. And so it was kind of putting on his radar some of the things that we would be looking for support for, as well as having an opportunity for him to share about anything that he's aware of that may be available in our community to help our youth. So that report will be shared for the City Council, because it is a city task force, in December, but we are certainly a part of that. That task force report, phase 1, is what brought pro-youth to our students. That's what put that on our radar. And then finally, we will be closed next week for Thanksgiving break. As far as the schools, this office will be closed Thursday and Friday. And as I always remind everyone, Citizens Bond Oversight Committee is looking for members. Later on this evening, you'll have the annual report presented for your information. That is all.
Go ahead. Thank you, Jen. Go ahead and move on to reports from administrators. Questions or comments from any of the reports?
Just a quick comment for Ida at Food Service Department. Thank you guys for doing the whole, taking the students' voice into account with you guys' menu options that you guys brought out to them. I think that's a great thing, and that's something that we've been talking about, empowering our students. So thank you guys for doing that. We saw the pictures where they were telling if they like it, they didn't like it. So what was it? I think the barbecue or the chow mein or something like that. No, but thank you guys for taking them into consideration. So thank you on that. Thank you. And then I have a quick question, Dr. Ruby. On your wait list numbers, I know that it's saying that the San Lucia and then has 55 still. and we've been working on hiring since like, well, back when. Is there a way we can work on the wait list? Because I've heard that there's parents have been on the wait list for 2 years now. Yeah, just to see if we can like work on the older wait list, because I hear that there's kids that for 2 years now that haven't been able to get on there. They've been on the wait list. They haven't been able to get in. So if we can just work on those. Thank you.
Same. I just wanted to mention it because I remember that it's being recorded this time, not like last.
We found her voice last Thursday. Anything else? Lauren? Any other reports or questions? Go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. Is there any items that you would like to have discussed and voted on separately?
Should I pull it or should I? Yeah. So I'll go ahead and pull item number 12, just for questions.
Go ahead and vote on that one separately. Is that the only item that you're gonna,
Yes.
any other items that anyone in the audience would like to have? discussed separately? Not, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for the consent agenda excluding item 12 to be pulled and voted on separately.
I move to approve the consent agenda with the removal of item 12.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, we'll go ahead and pull item 12.
So on that one, I had just submitted some questions on in regards to our 21st century grant. It was removed from the list of the funding, so I was aware that we lost it. Do we know why did we lose that grant?
Correct. So I've asked, Dr. Ruby's got some information for us on these and Eddie. Thank you for submitting the questions so that they could gather that information for you.
So, to start, so yes, we do not have the 21st century grant currently. We lost it, the last 2 years, we haven't had it. It is a small, small grant, and so when the state doesn't give us the grant, they didn't give us a denial, it's just that they deny it. Our best guess is our ELOP funding is quite large. Smaller districts don't have the same allotment, they don't have that same amount that they get. So it could potentially be something where we have this higher level of ELOP, but we don't have it. Did submit the intent to apply for the next grant when it comes out. We do apply all the time, but last two we have not gotten.
Apply for what we it was supplemental for 23, so pretty much like months, and they sent out requests for
So we have applied for that and we're just waiting to hear back. So that would be effective kind of the same thing as this. So we're hoping to hear back on that. But the why this contract is brought to you for an amendment, well, they had included initially entry as if we had received it. So that wasn't correct, and I need that to be corrected. And our ACES dollars to match up what the allocation that we're actually receiving for 24 or 25, 26, because it was not taken into consideration the reduction for CPMS. That needs to be accounted for. And then have better figures or estimates of what expense is going to look like for the year, right? So they also included in there the ELOP. So once ACES runs out, we're going to start getting. And so that's one of the reasons why I asked for an updated contract. The other reason is because our auditor suggested that we add ed code to our contract, which is ed code B. Yeah, it's 8483.4B.
Well, it's already full of that code.
It is full of ed code. They wanted that specific ed code. Wanted that specific ed code in the contract. And it's something that they looked at, even though we do meet that requirement for audit, met the requirement for audit because they have it in the hiring process. They wanted, the auditors suggested that we have it in the contract. So that's kind of the reason why we are bringing back the contract for approval.
So then we don't have a reason why we were taken, the 21st century was taken away then?
No, it wasn't taken away. We just applied and we just didn't get it.
Okay, and then the other question was that on the allocation of the funds, Keene City Arts Magnet, nothing against KCAM, right? Gets 152, but their program is smaller. How do those funds get allocated?
Our understanding thought is that they're helping cost a little more at that site. We don't have to get back.
Because they have less employees at that site. So yeah, because that was my question. Just because San Lucia has the most amount of students enrolled, but they're getting less, and Keene City Arts Magnet has the least amount of students, and they're getting
That would
more.
require a little more analysis. So I will get back to you on that, but
Which is fine, yeah, because
Yeah,
because I had just seen it, so I didn't pay attention to. I just saw it. I didn't get to the agenda till late, so yeah, that's fine. I just have that question, and then our numbers for CPMS. We know that we have students who sign up for sports. Do we know what the actual number of students who attend?
So at the end of last year, we had 90. And then now we have 126 now that we've added sports. So I don't know the exact number of students that come back to the program after sports, but what we've done is we've set it up so that they go there. Sports don't start until about 3:45. So that gives kids about 40 minutes to go and eat and do their homework. And that was what our main goal was there, is to make sure that we're providing that time there, and then they can go. It also gives them supervision for that 40 minutes, 45 minutes where they're not hanging out at the park across the street. And so they are a part of the after school program. They are a part of Pro Youth because they are going there, they are getting their snack, they are getting their homework done. And then they are encouraged to go back after. I don't know how many do, but I think, the way that Pro Youth used to be was that you had to stay until 6, and that's what the program required. So now it's offered, we offer it until 6, but there's not like a hard fast, you have to be here until 6. And so they're participating in the program for that front half because it provides us a good way for them to, when we're holding them accountable for grades, gives them time to say, hey, we're allowing you to get your homework done, we're allowing you to get your we ended with 90, so it's about 36 added kids.
Okay. Thank you. You want my motion?
Any other questions or comments? Now we'll go ahead and continue.
I move to approve the revised contract with approval contract renewal with Pro Youth.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Answer.
On to our action item. Our first action item is a board policy updates.
Again, we looked at this last month, so it's here for your approval this month. Just a few updates, 7 or 8, across a variety of our board policies. A few of them related to legislation, a few of them are a follow-up to previous changes. And of course, you can see all of those within the attachment.
Is there any questions or comments from the board or audience? None, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve action item A, approval of the CSBA board policy update, second reading.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Action item B, approval of sunshine openers for negotiations with KC.
Thank you. I was just saying that our chief business official, Joni, she is obviously not here this evening, so she was going to be listening in. So I was checking to see if she had sent me a message saying to let her into the system. Gotcha. Thank you. Okay. So for your approval tonight is, as you can see from the cover sheet, you previously voted to approve a transition from MCSIG to SIBO. And as a part of that whole process, we entered into an MOU with our teachers bargaining unit. And as a part of that, we're bringing forward a sunshine item to begin negotiations for Article 15 fringe benefits as related to the MOU.
Any questions and comments from the board or audience? I'll bring it back to the.
I move to approve action item B, approval of sunshine openers for negotiations. Aye.
Go ahead and move on to information item. As requested, some of our information items were added for board bylaws. So that was sent to us at a time. So if there's that we would want to review or possibly vote on in the future, that is for us to bring back. So at this moment, is there any?
I think that that was we received clarification it wasn't on the bylaw, so it had to be on that.
But for that, like even then, even if we had
Handbook.
Handbook, we would still put it under information. We would be able to discuss it openly if we wanted to. But then we would also bring it back. So even bylaws, if there is they'd want to discuss or bring back, that is open for us to be able to bring it back in the future or any kind of change or further discussion. So with bylaws, is there anything that we want to discuss? Move on to the next. You okay with moving on to the next item? We'll go ahead and move on to the board meeting calendar. That was regarding, obviously next month we have our organizational meeting, and in that meeting we approve our board meeting calendar. So this is also something we don't have to, again, we could discuss it now open, but included is what the meetings look like. So if there was going to be any kind of change, then that would have to happen. You mentioned again in the same meeting, right? Bring it back for action.
So on the calendar, what we were talking about, or what I was considering is that if there's any way that we can perhaps move it over, since everybody has been busy with a Wednesday, if there's any way if we can do it the Tuesdays, since Wednesdays is some days, the teachers who stay here till late, they have to drive out of town. Then we have graduation, the promotion ceremony on a Wednesday. You work from home on Tuesdays, which we can probably start on time. No, I mean, like taking everything into consideration that we currently have. So I don't know what everybody else's thoughts on that is. The third Tuesday that it wouldn't interfere with anything happening with the city, their meetings.
Theirs are every Tuesday.
Second and the fourth.
Second. And yes, that's certainly something we can bring forward. It's board policy, so we would also need to bring in the associated board policy to you before you vote on the dates, because you'll need, it can be the same meeting.
Yeah.
But you'll need to change your board policy.
Which we don't have Susan or Terry to get their input on those dates, but just seeing how Wednesday can sometimes be a little bit tricky to be able to start. For example, today Terry had to leave and you don't get in till late, so that can sometimes be a little bit challenging, but I don't know what's everybody else's input on that.
I can see aside from the whole working from home on Tuesday, because that could always change for me. That really can, at that point. But I do like looking back on it when I did have my kids, at the high school. Like I never got to be able to go to a lot of their Wednesday, because they do a lot of things on Wednesday. Never go to any of their Wednesday events that they had over there when we had our meetings here. But also going kind of back on the whole, I know that we've done our staff appreciation on a Wednesday. And so sometimes when we had I think we've had special board meetings on those days, but the one that usually does land is the Shalom Peaks promotion day. But I do think waiting to hear back from Terry and Susan's input would be ideal, as far as moving it to.
Right. And the board policy will have to be changed.
Well, we have a special board meeting coming up before then, so. We can get our input at that point, and whatever changes that might take place of it, have them by the regular board meeting.
Okay.
As far as like, right now, currently, Tuesday would, but but we'll discuss that further, have further input from. Go ahead and we'll move on to the information item C, which is the baseline study, which is something that we came across when we went to.
All right, I lost my cursor there for a moment. So there's just one handout that goes to what I'll share with you about the baseline study, but that's what this piece was. So correct, when it actually was those of us that are sitting up here this evening, the four of us, when we went to the California Latino School Boards Association Conference in September, the first day, we went to a presentation from this vendor called Arenda, with the superintendent from Salinas, Dr. Rebecca Andrade, and the superintendent for Santa Maria Bonita, Dr. Darren McDuffie. We heard about their baseline study. And so when you asked for that, I assumed that this was the information that I needed to bring forward at the moment. And then the next day, we heard from Santa Maria Bonita again about what they're doing this year. And I remember them talking about the fact that they're just getting started. So they're not reflecting on the success necessarily, but they were talking about what they were doing to get started. So Took me a while to connect with the two superintendents, but I have had a conversation with each of them about what took them to that, what was their process like as far as this baseline study. And then Dr. Andrade connected me with the representative from Orinda, and I just had that virtual meeting with them yesterday afternoon. They shared this slide with me so that I could share it with you to kind of explain what they do. So it is fresh. It is just here as a information item tonight. And then you can give me direction on some moving forward pieces. So both of our, those districts, Salinas and Santa Maria Bonita, partnered with Orinda last spring to conduct what they call the baseline study. Also, sometimes you'll hear it called as a needs assessment. It's synonymous here. And as a part of phase one of that partnership with Orinda, they came in and did a very comprehensive study. Salinas City, what kind of triggered them to go in that direction, one of the pieces was because they were applying for an expansion of their community schools grant, and you have to have a needs assessment as part of that. We did that ourselves last year, but unfortunately, we're not granted the grant. But Salinas City, our friends to the north, they did receive, and I believe they have it in all their schools now as a result of that. So that's kind of what triggered it for them. And then for Santa Maria Bonita, they had their new strategic plan in place. And so for both districts, they wanted to look at the alignment throughout their district, is again why they were doing this, because they were sensing that without a lot of the hard data or the study, but that they didn't have alignment and they had a difference among the programs at their different schools, materials at their different schools, each school emphasizing different programs. And so as districts that have children that tend to move between the schools, you then have this lack of continuity again as children are changing. And so when the baseline study comes in, they're looking at 3 questions. What's the student success profile at the moment? What's your current picture of your district and your school? What systems are in place that would be explaining why you see the profile that you see, and what can be done to accelerate student success. So those are their 3 reasons when Orinda comes in. The components of the study are they have staff surveys and focus group interviews, and they're looking again at the academics, the use of data, and the professional development that's provided to staff. They are looking at evidence of student experiences, so they're shadowing students and observing in classrooms. They're looking at and analyzing quantitative data. And then in the end, they have a presentation of the findings and recommendations. As I was listening to that, it sounded very similar, just on a larger scale, but very similar to what we did with West Ed for our math program, because that too included staff surveys, focus groups with staff, observing in the classrooms, focus groups with students as well, and looking at our data and looking at our programs. So the similar concept, ours was focused on math that year. This year we are extending that and looking at English language arts. The Orinda can partner with you just for doing the baseline study, or as they have with Salinas and Santa Maria Bonita, you then can partner with them to continue going forward. And that is where the piece that I handed out to you. So you can see where phase 1, that baseline study, that's just letter A in phase 1. Simply, where are you today? That's why they call it condition setting. What are your current conditions? Then there's also a piece of it, what they call front loading for leaders there. So that's 3 sessions that they provide on learning about the study, understanding the study, and preliminary planning. So what are we going to do with the results of the study? And then they have their own data system. That's what you see as C, that you can also purchase if you choose to. So again, if all you contract with them for is a baseline study, then that's where you are. That's what you've done, A and B. If you continue, you move into phase 2, and it's not necessarily a year by year. It's going to depend on each district, how long you're in these different phases. But in phase 2, now this is where they are beginning to work on the curriculum alignment. And what they discussed was this is where they begin looking at, and I'm hoping this will sound familiar to you, is they begin identifying their key standards, developing assessments for those standards, looking at their instructional strategies. Our elementary teams just spent an entire sim today looking at this with our standards-based learning. Again, I'm not saying it's the exact same thing. I'm saying it sounds very similar to some things we're doing. But I also only have I've only had the first conversations so far. And then for us also, we've been working with Dr. Jennifer Shaver and Marzano and with achievement teams on those pieces. So with Arenda, they come in, do the work on the curriculum alignment with you. And again, you see their nested data system listed, guidance alignment, and think training your leaders. Then when you move into phase 3, they're continuing with looking at the program design, ensuring that you have a coherent system, because what they're setting you up for is building that capacity so that you can move on to phase 4, which is where they hand it all off back to you. So that's their system. And of course, I asked them about districts they're working with. They're working currently with 18 districts in California, Salinas in our county, and they just signed with LSL. So 2 neighbors here in our county for us. And I also asked them, okay, so for a baseline study, what are we looking at on the financial side? Because this wasn't something we had budgeted before, so it's something we need to look at. So it is $35,000 per elementary site. So 35,000 times 3, we need, Thomas's students come back and they can do multiplication problem for us. CPMS would be $50,000. Then the report, that's for doing the study with the sites. The report is $30,000. So you have a total of $185,000 for the baseline study. The 3 leadership sessions that go with this are an additional $11,000. So the total for this component is $196,000. So that's what I know so far. I'm expecting to hear more tomorrow when I go to the county SUPS meeting, because Dr. Andrade had shared, and then the representative shared as well when I talked with them yesterday, that on December 12th, Salinas City is going to be hosting what they're calling a day of learning with Arenda, and inviting districts in the county to go be a part of that to learn more. So I'm assuming that part of what you would be requesting is that I go learn more. But that's, again, this is the information I have so far for you.
See, yes, but I would also say taking like teacher leaders.
Correct. No, correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Well, I will find out who and how many I can take.
yes, because from what I recall from the presentation, it's 2 different selling points right now, and I understand where you're coming from as far as the whole. Yeah, I totally get it, but the selling point that kind of got, I feel, I don't want to speak for the rest of the board, but got me hooked was they come in, and the difference is that they actually look at just what's been in place and we've continued to do, because it's been past president for X amount of years, but it's not effective. But yet it is, it's standard protocol. So how many times have we not gone through these, these all-day SEMs or you guys looking at them? But it's not because you guys aren't really having the buy-in, but because it's the standard practice of what we have to do, because this is the norm. So what I liked is that they come in and they shake up what is the norm, and then also as they're doing everything else, like the report and everything, it's I'm not saying that there's no teacher buy-in, but the teachers are and the staff are very much a component of what is the change that starts happening. And so, I mean, I could be wrong on how I took that presentation, but I mean, I think it was something that, to me, it stood out like, we're good old King City and we're stuck in our ways sometimes. So is there a possible change that can be more effective, more direct to what our students look like, to what our families look like, and then also to have the staff be a more hands-on component to building what the new thing looks like, as opposed to having an agency come in and saying, this is what we're going to do and this is how you guys are going to start doing it now. Because I feel like that's what's been the past presidents that we've had when we have made change to whatever it is. This, to me, was sold to us, or for me, as if we're going to come in, we're going to show you what your district looks like, we're going to work with you guys, and then we're all going to rebuild what way you guys want to take it.
So, again, I hear the price and that could be discouraging in itself, but I feel also too, like, you mentioned that they're gonna go in and do that presentation for and invite districts within the Salinas area. But is there or what would be the cost for them to actually come and do something like that for like all our staff? Because ideally it would be something that we would want to have the staff have buy-in.
And both Dr. McDuffie and Dr. Andrade said that once they, when they determined that yes, they wanted to move forward and contract with them, before they come in and start doing the study, they do meet with your bargaining unit leadership, your teacher leaders, your administrators, et cetera, to explain, and the governing board, to explain what it is they're doing and why. So before they appear and start working on it. So that is a component of it. And I was sitting with you, so I don't disagree on while that it was a unique approach. What I mean by similar to some of the things we're doing is, and again, not disagreeing with, we need to learn more. That's why I say this when they shared that this is coming up. But to also clarify the work that like what we did today and the work that we're doing with standards-based learning has been 100% teacher driven. So that one hasn't been. That is one where that's where the teachers came forward and the teachers brought to us, actually it was three of our TOSAs that said, hey, we need to do something different. And here's the direction we think we need to be going. That's what started that movement of sorts and the work that we're doing. So it doesn't mean that we couldn't possibly even do better, but I do want to make sure that I clarified on record that that work has been and is still currently teacher driven.
Are they giving like boundaries that they have to stay in? Or is it like completely from the ground up teacher driven?
And Pat and Anna. Yeah. That's what led to the standards-based learning, what we're doing.
I think that was something that was brought up at one of our study sessions that they're working with all the sites, but something that really caught our attention. They come in from bottom, top, middle school, align everybody because although yes, we're doing it, perhaps not doing it fully, completely, aligning all of our sites to the same level. But I would be really interested in seeing what comes out of that presentation, even if Audra, since she's our curriculum, can also join and see, because the way it was presented, I mean, it shows that that there's potential for growth and alignment across all sites. So the presentation, I mean, from Santa Maria, Bonita, and Salinas City was, I mean, it really caught our attention. So I would really want to see what the outcome is at that presentation in December.
No, it was powerful. That's what I'm saying. I don't disagree. What, as I talked with the two superintendents and then talked with Arinda yesterday was, again, like I said, the similarities. To me, I took it as we're on a really good track. Is there a way that this melts together? Or is this, once we learn more, is this going to be not quite the right answer because it's too much of a duplicate? Is there something where, okay, yeah, you guys have got this piece, but here's this piece that would enhance it and make it better? I don't know enough yet. I just know that some of the work that they're talking about, the pat on the back to our staff was, hey, they're on that path. They are in the midst of some pieces of this. So what can we take from them and find out what's the best match for us? Might be Arinda. We might come back and say, you know what, this part, these are not the pieces we need. This is the part we need. I don't know. I don't have enough information for you yet. This is what I have so far. But again, I don't want our teachers to go unrecognized for the work that they are doing, that they brought forward and they've been leading.
It's not to not recognize the teachers. It's kind of like when we go and we get professional development, right? We usually are the ones that seek out which professional development we're going to bring in. And yes, the teachers are going to do the work of whatever that component is, but are they the ones that got to pick out which one, we got to select from is what I mean. And so what stood out was
they said it flat out. We go in, we study your district, we study what's not working for you guys and what you guys are stuck in because of past presidents, because this is just the way we've always done it. This is something that's kind of like we can't get rid of. And even though we're doing different things, there's still something leveraging on just how much it could grow, no matter how much change or different things we do. And so that's kind of where I think really stood out for us is like, obviously there's going to be things that, yes, our teachers are doing the work. Yes, they're the ones that are working on whatever we're bringing forth. But again, that's kind of like where I'm saying is like, what is the difference? So there's a lot of similarities, but they sound like similarities as opposed to actually dissecting it. Like when we're doing these things that the teachers are doing now, yes, they're doing something new, but does it mean that the old things go away necessarily? Or, do we go back and revert to the old ways eventually, which is what seems to happen. Like we'll go around the block once and then we go back to what it used to be, so the way that this was presented was they take it away. Whatever is not there, it's taken away. And then the feedback that they have is, it's not just with the staff. It went further into where they also kind of mentioned the parent components as well. So that's something that we don't do with whatever we're bringing forth to our staff now. So even that stood out because it was like buy-in for the whole district as a whole, not just at the site levels, but everybody that's being impacted from the students in the classroom to the families at home.
So I will learn more, and yes, I'll find out tomorrow who should be in the, not should, because our opinion of should might be different. Who's invited to be in the audience? That's what I'll find out.
Wendy will call you out. Call you out.
If you guys would like, I would be happy to kind of put like a little report together for you about the work we've been doing around standards-based learning and who's been involved in it, where it's coming from, and what we're doing moving forward with that so that you can understand the impact that the teachers are having on that work. But like that, I'm happy to do that.
Sure. And yes. But so see, like right here, I feel like it's being like we've lost from the presentation that we saw to how it's being, and I'm not saying it's necessarily from how we're now trying to share to the audience what it was that we saw at that conference compared to what, we're trying to, I don't think we're doing it justice is what I'm saying. I really don't. But no, I totally understand where you're coming with that, but I felt like this study it goes deeper than just the standardized learning.
Yeah, and I understand that. I just
Okay.
want you
Yeah.
guys to be aware of, when we were talking, it made me realize you might need to have more information about what that work looks like that we're doing. Aside from this work here.
Right.
That
No,
you're looking at.
I appreciate that. We appreciate that. And again, it's not to take away from the work that the teachers are doing. It's not focused necessarily on that. We're not zooming in necessarily on that. We're just talking about even before some of the teachers that are here now or the staff that are here now, just like what's been in our district and it's just been there because it's just the way things gone. Like, how many times have people or different leadership have come in and gone, but because somebody kind of made this, standalone type of thing, it's still there. Not necessarily because it's effective, not necessarily because it's working. And again, it goes beyond just the standard-based learning, but yes. Just want to make sure that we're not taking away any credit from the teachers and we're not saying that it's not working. It's just study.
Correct. And that's where I say that it was similar, but this is broader. Arinda looks at your entire system. So more info to come.
We'll go ahead and Jennifer, come back because this is your review Citizens Bond Oversight Committee.
Yay. Okay. You have attached here, so annually, the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee is required to I clicked on fringe benefits, sunshine, sorry, wrong one. They are required to present to you just an annual report. It's a part of Prop 39. So when you sell your governing bond, you must have your Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. They meet at a minimum once a year and then present annually to you for information. Doesn't require any action on your part. And so you do have a great report here that Joni has put together. I'm assuming with assistance from the business department, from Betty and the team, and also probably from MOTF as well, because again, we're about to move in after winter break into our new classrooms. And we get to celebrate all the hard work that John and the team has been putting in. But here you see the annual findings, and everything is marked compliant except for financial and performance audits are in progress because we are also in the midst of our audits. Here for your information.
Questions or comments? It's dying to talk about this right now.
Pardon me.
Nothing. Nope. Item for Keith.
You have the partner item here to our previous item that you approved. This is our notification from KCTA, sunshine and of Article 15 fringe benefit as a part of the MOU with our new transition to SIBO.
Any questions or comments? Okay. Go ahead and we will move on to communication from board members. So first item is the board self-evaluation.
I just wanted to point out the attachment will read differently for now when we update with the minutes, correct, Cinda? That's when you'll update the attachment.
Don't, I'm just kidding. It was not me. That's the whole point. Oh, that one. Would you have?
You put Cinda on the spot, you're gonna get the answer.
I thought she was talking about, because I remember that somebody was late
Oh,
over
okay,
here on our
correct.
end.
Gotcha.
I thought. For clarification, when she said that there was a 4, I thought it was because one of us currently out of the 5 was late. So I wanted to point out that it was not me because it's usually me. But no, so.
Yep.
That was, yes, okay.
So you have it here for your discussion. This is your self-evaluation. But if you'd like, it's so how would you like to discuss it category by category?
Yes.
Do you want to,
Let's discuss category by category.
not item by item, but category by category?
Hey, who, would you guys, can somebody give us a hint here to help to the late? You probably already lost, huh? Okay.
So you have, within your 3 sections, you'll notice Cinda included what the difference was from last year to this year. So there are minor differences on how you rated yourselves, basically across the board. And then, of course, on the final page, you do have the goals you've set for yourself. So that's section 1, individual rating as you see yourself as an entire board. And then that next one moves into the role and jobs of the board. And that third one is yourself individually. So remember, that falls in similar questions, but within the different categories. So if you have any reflections or thoughts for section 1, which is you as a board, as a whole, how you rated yourselves. And again, this was on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest.
I mean, I think that we got a passing grade. We did kind of grade ourselves. No, but
is there a particular item that you feel very strongly that you're working very well as a board together? There are several that are rated high, but is there one in particular that stands out for you?
I think the one that more than anything that we've been able to keep it in a professional manner, although we've had our hard conversations at times, but I think that we've learned to work well with each other.
I think for me, it's gonna be communicate a common vision. And I mean, I sound like a broken record, but you know, being up here as long as I've been up here, I think this is one of the first times that I can say that the board as a whole has kind of been more on the same level, general, across a lot of different areas. Yes, we're, you know, 5 very different individuals, but nonetheless, I feel like we're a little bit more aligned with our ideas and visions of the district. Regina Wendy. I think I would also go with communicate common vision. Notice the difference.
Do you have any input? Want to move on to section 2? Sure. It's your self-evaluation.
Yes,
It's
section 2.
not my evaluation of you. So section 2 are, again, the roles, or it's, as it's listed here, the jobs of the board. If there's anything that you want to comment on or point out?
For me, I'm gonna say, because I kind of got stuck on number 5, which is the conduct regular and timely evaluations of the superintendent. And I'm just going, you know, because it's obviously a yearly thing. And we should have had a 5 on that one because we actually nailed it this year for the
Yes, you
first
did.
time ever. And I think what happens is that we got, because I almost gave us a low grade 2, but I was like, wait a minute, no, because it's an annual evaluation. So it's like, no, we actually got it on top this time. So I kind of wanted to point out, because I do see that, you know, got an average of 3.5, but I feel like we actually nailed it way more appropriately this time than not.
Correct. You did grow by 0.9 on that as a board in your rating of yourself. Yeah, 3.5 was last year, 4.4
Oh,
this year.
got you. Any other questions or comments regarding number 2?
That final area, final section was rating yourself individually. Do you have any comments? Again, 'cause it's the opportunity for you to discuss among yourselves. So it's part of the reason you have this on here tonight, is it must be an open sessions. Your opportunity.
I guess I'll go back to the whole understands that the authority rests with individuals. Not that that's ever been a difference, but again, I had to fight some battles up here. At least it felt like it. And I'll say that we're way more aligned than not. But got a passing grade.
That final page, you see the goals that you had set for yourselves last year, and they've grown dramatically this year. As far as how many people included.
Some of the goals for this year obviously have come with a lot of the new discussions that and then on top of that, I think as some of as a new board members, not to point them out, but I mean, I think that also, well, it's true. I, it's true. I think that, you know, as they've grown, like the want for more trainings is also kind of like a natural thing that kind of happens within, a board member as they start getting their feet a little more grounded into the role itself. So, yeah, I think that they kind of go hand in hand, and I think they also reflect a lot of like the ratings from the other versions that have taken place.
Is there anything that you would like rescinded to do with this at this point, or bring it back next fall? Because this is an annual self-evaluation.
I mean, it would be nice to have a slip, kind of like the kids have a good, outstanding.
If she has any for you.
For me, that would be appropriate for me. I mean, not for
Professional
younger.
and respectful. We're going to take lessons from Michelle earlier this evening.
I do work in back or input on the opportunity. Item conference attendance.
So last year, this was something that some of you had expressed an interest in. And at the time that we discussed it last year, we were not familiar with CLSBA. So then at the end of the school year last year was when we all received that email and you had requested that we attend that, so which we did in September. But we weren't going to just drop this off. So that's why we brought it back to you, because they've now released the information. So you have information attached this evening. You don't necessarily have to give us direction this evening, but we're not in a time crunch yet. And then the final page has the estimated cost. I think it's safe to say, considering how many airline tickets I've purchased this month, that airfare is probably a little low. That'd be fantastic, but I'm not thinking, yeah. Yeah, I think that part is definitely low. So that's a estimated per person cost. Meals, depending on how many are offered by the conference, that's probably a little low in DC. So if you already know, I'm not interested anymore, fine, we won't bring it back. But we did want to, again, we weren't going to just drop it off, so that's why we brought it forward for your discussion.
I think for me, on my end, I wouldn't be interested. I'd rather stay local with what we can actually learn and bring back for our students. So I wouldn't be interested at this time.
And I agree, which is why I was open to this being brought up, because I know that there was more than that were interested last year. I think personally, for the cost, I think we can get more for our buck staying within the state of California and just kind of seeing what's going on within our state, and then taking conferences and workshops from there.
If advocacy is really something that you're wanting to become more involved in, California does have its own event every spring.
That maybe bringing some information. Yeah, sure. That might. I know you do, because you have your little notebook out. I think I agree. Comment. Go ahead and we'll move on to nomination. where they get a organization that has had impact within Monterey County. I've been served on past. I know that they were pretty specific. I'm going over all the nominees this year. They kind of went away from the whole county as a whole because they were pretty dedicated to sticking to nominees that didn't just specifically impact one area of the county versus the majority. So, and then I know that towards the bottom of that, it says that there's, I think, 2 organizations that were going in for a second award. There's a lot that have indeed been repeated nominees, which is not a bad thing because it shows that they are still contributing to the county and the students, and they're all students when it comes out to Monterey County. But I'm not gonna lie, considering that there's so many nominees that are specifically for just like one area, one community versus the other, I do see 2 that that are standalone, like or South Monterey County. And although Soul Treasures has indeed been part of North County in the past, they are specifically just for our area. But one of the areas that one of the organizations that Monterey County Agricultural housed here. I know that in the past, other districts, I don't know how frequently they visit now, but it's been something that has served other districts, not just South County districts, but something that has been a historical thing where even students will come down, take a field trip, and so they still do. So I think that that's kind of neat. It's historical thing that we get to house here in our community. It's a chunk of history. It talks about the bracero. It talks about you go into the museum and it talks about how the cowboy was evolved. So I just, to me, I'm try not to be as biased because I'm believer that something that touches more than just one area is the ideal. But I do feel like expand itself now, whether other communities or the districts take the opportunity or advantage of that, can't change that. But I do think that it's something. Yeah.
Add to.
Okay, I thought we had a pick. Well, that's what I'm gonna pick if we don't come up with anything. Okay, so and by when do we need to add more? I know that it's by May, right? And then we vote in January, right? That we vote. So I guess do your homework. Okay. Go find any other organizations that do impact Monterey County as a whole. But if not, whatever you think of. All right. Last Thursday we had our special board, and at that decided to go ahead and add the topic of unification under communication from the board, just in case there was ever any information or just something popped up, we would have the opportunity to be each other and our audience. So it's not to say that there's anything this time, but I will ask Janet, please.
I will be at the county office tomorrow, and I have an appointment with Dr. Gus in the afternoon to share our message from last Thursday.
can you? So unless there's any other feedback, questions, comments from the board or audience on that matter, I just wanted to go ahead and share that that's going to be something that's going to stay as a norm under that, just in case. And it's not to alarm anybody because that's not our intent, but our intent is to be able to have open discussion as the time changes or so on. Board members, is there anything else that you would like to communicate that have not already discussed?
Of course, of course. So this last month, I had the opportunity with Dr. Ruby and had joined us to visit the ELOP program at CPMS. And there is a lot of great things happening out there. What caught my eye was one of the classrooms we went, it was during sports, so the class sizes were very small, but very impactful. We went to Victoria Lopez's room, and there were two students, one who participated in Slick, so really liked it. He wants it back. He wants to bring it back. He really enjoyed it. And what caught my attention on those, they were doing vision boards that day, was one of them was, well, he wants to put his own little business together of shirts. So one of his things on his vision board was that he wanted to stay out of the streets. And so seeing the impactful messages that they were putting out on their vision board, I mean, it really, I mean, even though there was only like 4 students in that class, with those 2 students, it was like the impact was made. And then the other one was that he wanted to have more patience because he doesn't like people being sarcastic to him. So it was just like little things that he had on there. One of the things that I had brought up to Dr. Ruby was if there was any way that we can probably invest in like a t-shirt printer to start for the ELOP program, to perhaps start them, you know, them creating their own shirts, their own little business that they have. We went to the crochet club, and that student has his own Instagram page and he sells his little arts through there. So it was nice seeing what the ELOP program is doing. Also, the Dia de los Muertos event, it was full. It also landed, well, yeah, it was full house. I think we had food for about 1,000 people. So we ran out. So hopefully by this next one, Las Posadas, add more food. I mean, like very good Mexican families, you know, there was a line, and there was parents who didn't, weren't able to get for, yeah, burritos or tortas. So hopefully we can, I mean, it was a full house. We learned that we need light out there because it was pretty dark, but I mean, it was fun. It was a great turnout. I mean, seeing all the parents out there was pretty good. So hopefully we get to, I don't think we'll be going, well, Wendy will be going to the Posadas. We have CSDA, so we probably won't, we'll miss this one, but oh, you can
Send
send
it
them,
with
you can send them with
Wendy.
Wendy.
Yes, you
Because
can
Wendy's
send it
driving,
with
right?
Wendy.
So she wants this, she's driving after, so.
Then text us, let us know how much for what you sent, so we make sure that it gets to us.
So, and then the other thing, so I'll be visiting Del Rey, Cape and CPMS probably tomorrow or Friday. Mr. Daniels, your sped classes at San Lucia, it's a big difference. So it was nice seeing that. I mean, you know, there's still little hiccups here there, but I mean, it's a big difference. I mean, good job on all the work that you guys have been doing to get those students the services that they need. I mean, it's a big improvement. So it was nice seeing that. So thank you guys.
The student at CPMS who is selling things on Instagram, these are not the things he's creating in ELOP. He is using the skills that he learned, and his parents are buying him all of the materials, and he is making his own. Just had to put that on the public record.
Thank you, Dr. Ruby.
So I do want to mention, I was also at the Dia de los Muertos. I saw a lot of families like excited with everything that they were seeing and the activities that they thank you to everyone who created all of this. A lot of people do this because it was. So it does take a group effort to do this. So thank you to all of the ones that were helping. I have not been able to visit any classroom. So I do apologize. I will try to do it in December for sure because I'm out the week before you guys. So I have a whole week that I can go and visit classroom. And I will also try to out next month and probably January.
Before I forget, we also need to, if we can touch base, since this is the time that we can think about it, how can we start working towards amplifying our students' voice, having them come to the table with ideas? I mean, just how the food service department was doing with other things that we're currently doing in our district.
I think that in the past, we've had the sites put together their student council, body council. And, but that's not to say that it shouldn't, we can't have different students, but I think that that's something that administrators are hearing out in the audience right now. So maybe they can go back and put something together for students at their sites to be able to also come and meet us at the table. And I think going back on some of the things that we got to experience at the last conference we went, so the Latinos School Board Associations, a lot of boards have student board members, and we're a little small for that, but that's not to say that we can't get a representative from each site possibly to be the voice of that site. And so maybe they can go back and hold whatever meetings or however they would go back and, do that with their, student body. And then also be able to come back and meet with us at the table. That's just throwing some different ideas out there, just to kind of piggyback on what you just mentioned. As far as communication for me goes, I did get to see some of the sites briefly, October and I think the beginning of this month. And I will also try my best to continue to do as many visits as I can on my lunch hour for my work from home Tuesday, since I had to go put it out there. But on top of that, I also attended the Sacramento hearing that was held regarding the unification of Greenville and King City, or the high school district. There you go. That's how misinformation gets sent, King City. But so I was able to be there and speak on that. I'll be going to the annual school boards conference in December and expecting going to take tamales. But aside from that, I mean, just being able to visit the sites, especially for Halloween, that was fun. That was fun. I got to kind of see parts of, that I kind of miss as a parent, because my kids are not little, they're all adults now. So seeing a bunch of little kids in costumes and just, having fun, that was joyful. Aside from that, that's all the information that I have. So, let's see, we have a special board. Okay, so it's out of order. So we will be attending the CSBA ACE conference December 2nd through the 5th, and I believe that 4 out of 5 will be attending. And then we do have a special board meeting on the 9th of December, and that is followed by our regular board meeting on the 17th. And I think that's about it, right? As far as our advanced planning goes.
And Cinda will be polling. We will need to schedule one more special meeting in December, but we don't have the dates to poll you with yet.
motion to adjourn.
So thank you all for joining us.